$10 trillion. That number is larger than the entire economy of China, larger than every country on Earth, except one. It's not a government, it's not a central bank. It's a single private company, and there's a 90% chance it owns a piece of your life right now. Your phone, your streaming service, your grocery store, your airline. One firm sits at the top of all of them. It's called BlackRock, and most people have never heard of it. Here's the part that should make you stop. BlackRock doesn't just invest money, it manages risk for governments. It advised the Federal Reserve during 2 financial crises. And every single day, its AI system runs calculations on assets worth $21 trillion. Money that belongs to teachers, nurses, and retirees who have no idea this is happening. So the question isn't whether BlackRock is powerful. The question is, how did one company get this powerful without anyone noticing? 1988, New York City. A 35-year-old named Larry Fink starts a company in a single room with 8 people and 0 clients. Nobody wrote about it. Nobody cared. The firm wasn't a hedge fund, wasn't a bank. It was something quieter, a risk management company. Basically, they helped other people figure out how not to lose money. Boring, right? Here's what makes it interesting. When you put money into an index fund or a pension, that money doesn't just sit in a vault. Someone has to manage it, invest it, track it, protect it. BlackRock became the company that did that for more people than anyone else on Earth. And here's the strange part. BlackRock doesn't technically own the companies it invests in. The money belongs to you, to your pension, to your fund. BlackRock just manages it. So why does it feel like they own everything? Most people think power looks like a president, or a central bank, or a military. But sometimes, power looks like a server room. Let me introduce you to something called Aladdin. Not the Disney character, something far more influential. Aladdin is BlackRock's operating system, a risk management AI platform. And right now, it is running calculations on assets worth $21 trillion. Let that number land for a second. That's not what BlackRock manages. That's what Aladdin monitors. For BlackRock, for rival firms, for pension funds, for insurance companies. Think of it like this. Imagine a single doctor whose job is to monitor the heartbeat of every patient in every hospital on Earth, simultaneously. If something goes wrong anywhere, they're the first to know. That's Aladdin. Except instead of heartbeats, it's your money. Every single day, Aladdin runs 5,000 what-if scenarios. What if oil prices crash? What if interest rates spike? What if 3 major banks fail at once? It processes more financial data before breakfast than most governments see in a year. And here's where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. In 2008, when Wall Street imploded, the US Federal Reserve hired BlackRock to help manage the crisis response. Then again in 2020, when COVID froze global markets, the Fed called BlackRock, again, a private company, managing a public emergency. No vote, no public debate, no press conference. So now you understand the machine. The next question is, what does the machine actually own? Because the answer is stranger than you think. Here's a question nobody asks. Who is the largest shareholder in Apple? BlackRock. What about Microsoft? BlackRock. Amazon, Google, Bank of America, ExxonMobil? BlackRock. 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 The same firm, the largest single shareholder, indirect competitors, simultaneously. Now here's where it gets strange. Imagine you own a stake in Delta Airlines. You also own a stake in United Airlines. Both are fighting for the same customers, the same routes, the same prices. If Delta undercuts United, United loses. You lose money. If United undercuts Delta, Delta loses. You lose money. So what's your incentive to encourage either of them to compete aggressively? None. Economists have a name for this: common ownership. The idea that when one investor holds rivals in the same industry, competition quietly dies. Not through conspiracy, through math. Studies on US airlines found that ticket prices were 3 to 7% higher in markets dominated by common ownership. You paid more for your flight. Nobody told you why. But here's the part that should really make you think. BlackRock votes at shareholder meetings on your behalf. If your pension fund or index fund is with BlackRock, they are making decisions about companies you've never heard of, using your money, casting your vote, and you had absolutely no say in it. This isn't illegal. It's not even unusual. It's just the invisible machinery of modern investing. Most people never look behind the curtain. But the story doesn't stop at ownership. Because BlackRock doesn't just influence markets, it influences governments. And that is where things get truly uncomfortable. Every January, Larry Fink writes a letter. Not to shareholders, not to analysts, to CEOs. All of them. The heads of Apple, Shell, JP Morgan, Volkswagen, the most powerful companies on Earth. And they read every word. In 2020, Fink told CEOs that climate risk is investment risk. Within months, boardrooms across the world were restructuring strategy. Think about that. No law was passed. No regulation was written. One private citizen sent an email, and the corporate world moved. That is not normal. That is something else entirely. Now add this. BlackRock alumni currently hold senior positions in the US Treasury, the European Central Bank, and the World Bank. There's a term for this, the revolving door. Finance executives move into government. Government officials move into finance. The same small group of people, rotating through the most powerful seats on Earth. Not illegal, happens everywhere in finance. But when it's this concentrated, it's worth paying attention to. And BlackRock hasn't escaped criticism. From the right, Republican-led states pulled billions from BlackRock. They said ESG investing was politics disguised as finance. From the left, activists argued ESG was marketing, not substance. That BlackRock still funded fossil fuels while selling green credentials. Fink eventually stopped using the term ESG publicly altogether. A man who moved markets with a letter retreated because the politics got too loud. That tells you something important. Influence works both ways. BlackRock shapes the world, but the world pushes back. So with this much power concentrated in one place, why hasn't anyone stopped it? That's exactly the right question. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Nobody designed this. Nobody planned it. BlackRock didn't seize power. We handed it over. Every time someone chose a low-cost index fund, every time a pension manager picked passive investing, every time a government needed someone to trust with a crisis, the same firm kept winning. And that firm kept growing. Now regulators are paying attention. The EU is examining whether firms like BlackRock pose systemic risk. Translation: if BlackRock makes a catastrophic mistake, does the entire global economy feel it? The US has had similar conversations, but so far, no significant action. Because here's the problem nobody wants to say out loud. BlackRock is now so embedded in global finance that unwinding its influence would be like removing a load-bearing wall. Do it wrong, the whole building shakes. And BlackRock isn't alone. Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. The big three asset managers together control more shareholder votes than most governments control policy decisions. The index fund revolution was supposed to democratize investing, give ordinary people access to markets, level the playing field. And it did. For millions of people, it worked. But it had a side effect nobody predicted. The more people invested passively, the more power concentrated at the top. We built the system. The system built BlackRock. And right now, whether you know it or not, you're probably part of it. So here's where we land. BlackRock doesn't own your home. It doesn't control your bank account. It doesn't have a file with your name on it. But there's a real chance that right now, your pension, your index fund, your ETF is being analyzed, managed, or influenced by BlackRock, without you ever choosing them, without you ever signing their name. That's not a conspiracy. It's just the world we built. A world that chose convenience over scrutiny, low fees over hard questions, passive investing over paying attention. And BlackRock? They just showed up and did the job nobody else wanted to do. The most powerful firm in the world doesn't need to own anything. It just needs to be the one everyone trusts to manage everything. That trust is the product. Who manages your money, and who manages them? If this changed how you think about money, the next video will change how you think about Vanguard, the firm that might actually be bigger than BlackRock. Subscribe. You won't want to miss that one.